I want a peaceful life with chaotic pursuits.
You're always moving forward. You're never moving backwards. You got to kind of visualize your life. If you've ever got a low point, there's always going to be something that stops you from going back.
If we set ourselves a goal and every day, maybe not every day we hit the goal, but if we make an effort to try and get better or get towards that goal, we are doing a little bit of something for ourselves and we're going to love ourselves for that.
Welcome back to Motional Intelligence. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am so excited by this week's guest. I have known this man for, I would say, a good year and a half now. He's someone that I've got so much respect for in the space, and he's doing amazing things. Harrison Davis, welcome, brother. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you. Thank you for having me. I'm very excited to be here.
Mate, honestly, I'm just so excited to chat to you because I feel like people probably just think, okay, cool, Harrison, another content creator, but we've known each other for ages.
I know, yeah.
It's wild.
It's one of those crazy things because we met right at the start
I know.
Of both of our running.
Me and Harrison met our first ever running event. Like it was I want to say like June 2024.
Yes.
It was around then, wasn't it?
I think I had 4K followers.
Yeah.
Not even that.
I probably had about 15 max, I reckon. And look, now you're absolutely flying, bro. But how have you been? How have things been?
It's been good. Yeah. It's been a crazy few months.
Yeah.
Content and life, but it's been good. Really good. Thank you.
Wicked, man. No, it's amazing to see what you're doing. So for those who don't know, could you just give a little introduction to yourself?
So I guess now I'm a content creator, which I haven't been able to say for a while. But I post self-help, self-improvement, mental health content just around my life, my lessons and stuff like that really. But it's all very new to me, as you know. So yeah, just getting into it.
So obviously your content is very mental health focused. What sort of spurred you on to start making mental health focused content then?
I think we've spoke about this a little bit, but I honestly don't remember that first time I went for it. But I've sort of looked back and looked at my first video that I posted seriously about mental health. And I think I just got to a point where I had reached a bit of a low, lost myself. And I just wanted to voice an opinion that I had. So I set my phone up in the car and filmed a little bit of a video about where I was feeling, what I was sort of going through. And a lot of people picked it up and resonated. But it sort of comes from a long time of being lost, not knowing who I was. And then, kind of reaching a rock bottom and just feeling like, you know what, I'm going to go for it.
Was there something that had happened in that day that caused you to kind of get the phone out and say what you were going to say to the camera?
I don't know if there was.
No?
But if I think back, I was probably watching a creator online talk about going for it. Casey Neistat is someone that I always used to watch. And he's got, I think someone's made it, he didn't make it, but a video about sort of, it's like 6 life lessons. It's just a compilation of his videos. And I remember that from that sort of time, about just going for it and the fact that, like, are you really going to care what other people think in 80 years' time? So I just went for it and posted that video. I think that was roughly around that time.
Amazing, man.
That sort of inspired me to do it. But yeah, I didn't really take it seriously for a while after that.
And you started posting mainly on TikTok first, because I think when we met at that Brooks event, it was the launch of the Brooks Ghost, like 14 or something
16, I think.
The 16, and it was a unsanctioned athletics like relay around London, wasn't it? So it was in our team. It was like me, you, Izzy. You know who else was on our team, which I didn't realize? Celine.
Yeah.
I didn't know her at the time, and then like literally just she's like one of the biggest running creators in the space. And Emily was on the team. Was Celine and Emily both?
Yeah, they came together.
Yeah,
and I remember they said that they were really nervous to come. And then I think you and Izzy were similar. And I was like, I came to London. I had not been to London in years, and I was invited to this event. Like I couldn't believe I was invited for start, and I was so nervous, just like walking around by myself. And then we got put in a team together. And I was
it was so good that, because like I always have this thing, bro. Whenever I go to events, I'm like, if I'm friends with people that I know that are going, great. but you really need like a good few. It sounds so daft for people that aren't in the space. It sounds so daft, but you almost need like a good few events that understand like how they work.
Of course, yeah.
Because like you'll go to these events and let's say you know no one and the group's not very welcoming, you will just feel like shit, and it does happen.
Yeah,
like it's happened to Izzy before. I'm fortunate that a lot of my early events I went with her because she's been in the space so much longer than me. But like with that one, we were both there together, so we had each other as a comfort blanket.
Yeah.
But you were there on your own, bro.
No, but it was really nice to be paired with you two, like straight away. I was sat by myself because I got there super early because I was like, I just don't know what the vibe is with it. So I got there super early, and then we were introduced to each other, and straight away I was just like,
I think we started talking about football or something.
Straight away, yeah.
But yeah, obviously football's been a big part of your life. You spoke briefly about making that first video, but I just want you to kind of explain what kind of led you to the point of feeling like you need to share your mental health journey with the world. Obviously, it's an incredible thing to be open with your thoughts and feel like your thoughts and feelings add value, which is like, I think so many creators can learn off people like yourself, and being a bit more kind of transparent as to when they have bad days and when they have good days. What was the reason you started putting your mental health journey online?
I think it was the fact that I wanted to help other people that might have been in my situation. And like you said, with the football stuff, it was, I think nowadays it's a lot better for being able to speak out. I think a lot of football clubs now have more of a system in place for players' mental health. But obviously I haven't mentioned it, but I grew up playing academy football.
Go from the very start of this, because we spoke about it briefly in Denmark.
Yeah.
And bro, it's such an interesting story.
So yeah, I signed for Southampton when I was 15 and moved away, and I was the shyest kid ever. So moving up there, I did day release there for a year and was just nervous the whole time. Got a scholarship there, and then was there for a few years.
Were you in the academy, yeah?
In the academy, yeah, and then in the 23s, in my last year there. And that was
How old were you in the 23s?
18, 19.
Is that quite common to be that young playing?
Yeah. So normally you finish your under 18s, your apprenticeship, and then that's the next step. So everyone just goes up to there, and obviously some lads are playing first team football, and some of you are just playing reserves, what is now the 23s. But yeah, that was the best part at the time of my life. It was a dream come true. I'd always wanted to play for Southampton since we played there. I played there with my local side once, and then it was my ultimate goal to go there. So,
because Southampton are a good youth setup.
Yeah, but especially back then, we had a lot of people to look up to. Like Luke Shaw had just left, Oxlade-Chamberlain came through. We had James Ward-Prowse in the first team, which was like he come through the academy. Yeah, he was like the god of. You all wanted to be him when we were younger. He was a very good role model for everyone. But yeah, I was doing well, but having a lot of setbacks, and it really was tough mentally for me. I didn't really do well in that side of football. And I think that's something that people don't talk about a lot, is how strong you have to be mentally to become a footballer. You can be as good as you like. And I had some friends that were unbelievable footballers, but they don't play football at all now. They were much better than me, played for England, but we all sort of struggled mentally in that with the pressure. So at about 19, maybe just before, I really fell out of love with football. I found myself in a very low place, and I was really anxious with everything in life, to be honest. And I think that's why I started posting, because I got to such a bad place whilst I was supposedly at the top of where I should have been. Everyone from home thought that I was living this dream life. I'd come home and everyone thought I was the footballer. I was amazing. Yeah.
Does that play a factor of like your mental health, when people have that expectation of what you're doing must be so great, that it actually, because you know deep down it's not great, it almost kind of adds that extra layer of pressure. Like I should be grateful because so many people would love to live my life.
100%. That is exactly how I felt.
Yeah.
And I remember telling the psychologist that I was speaking to all the time.
Is this at the club?
At the club.
Yeah.
They were brilliant for that. And I would always speak to her. And then I remember when I told my parents, like, I felt like the worst I'd ever felt, because I felt like I had taken the opportunity, all of my parents' help, everyone that supported me, I felt like I had taken that for granted.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was wishing away what every one of my mates was wishing for. So it's really hard to first say that I no longer wanted to play football and I wanted to move home. And I think that's maybe one of the toughest things is either if you don't make it, you feel so bad that you've let everyone down, or in my case, I fell out of love with it and I just didn't want to do it anymore. I couldn't bring myself to do it anymore because I was so anxious and so nervous and I had no confidence.
So what sort of things would happen? Like, obviously for you, you would feel anxious. Was it going into the training ground? Was it playing? What was it that was really kind of hindering you?
It was honestly any time I was ready to go onto a football pitch. So we would obviously train every day, but...
So in training, you were fine?
I was fine to start with. And then over the years, as I sort of neglected the fact that I was having what I think now were probably panic attacks.
Yeah.
And I neglected it over a couple of years. Come the end, I couldn't even train without locking myself in the toilet to go and either be sick or just sit there for a while to go out.
Man.
Yeah. It gives me a weird feeling talking about it again.
Does it?
Now. Yeah. But
in what way though? Because obviously it's something that, and this is me being just probably saying what other people are thinking whilst watching or listening. You've come out the other side of it in such a great manner, and reflecting on it isn't necessarily a bad thing. Does it kind of bring up that nervous and anxious energy?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah. And it takes me back there a little bit. But
okay.
Of course, like I thought about this only sort of after our Denmark trip of like how far I've come in terms of my own confidence and just being myself. Whereas I felt like at the time then I was just hiding who I was. I was trying to be a footballer.
Okay.
I was trying to be cool. I was trying to be like your confident sort of lad.
I bet you meet some absolute pricks playing football, and it's like you don't want to have to like go to their level, but almost to survive, there is that element of survival instinct, isn't there?
That's spot on. You kind of do. But I was very lucky. That's why I felt so bad, because everyone at Southampton was amazing. The change room, we had a great group of lads, but there is a stereotype of footballers that you feel like you sort of have to live up to. And I just knew I wasn't really that. I was very much more the quiet lad in the changing room. I wasn't loud. I wasn't shouting. So yeah, it was difficult to try and fit in, but I guess the feeling is just like it takes me back there. I don't feel like that anymore, and I'm very, very proud of overcoming that and talking about it. But it does make me
for sure,
me think of it. Yeah.
I full sympathy of that. So please do, like, if you don't want to share anything, that's absolutely fine. But we spoke in Copenhagen about a situation that had happened when you were about to go on the pitch to play a game, and you mentioned obviously like you'd be sick before training or whatever whatever the circumstance was of you playing football. You mentioned that there was one time that you weren't, and it had a knock-on effect.
Yes. Yeah. So I think you mean about when. I remember what we were talking about actually.
So you would be ill before a game.
Yeah.
And it was like you would not force yourself to be sick, but you would.
It was just part of the process. And I know that sounds awful, but in an environment like that, where I was trying to become a footballer, get a contract, I wanted to play every game, regardless, and it would basically be part of my routine.
That's mad.
Yeah, it's crazy to look back and think about that, but I had a couple of games where I didn't throw up, or I didn't have this panic attack, and I would go on the pitch and honestly feel like I had no ability because I hadn't got this thing out of my system. I guess I hadn't released that nervous energy.
It's like a demon sort of thing.
Yeah. And I know there are athletes that have the same. Josh Allen, I'm not too familiar with him, but he's an NFL player, and I've seen him in interviews talk about how he throws up before games. It's part of his routine. He goes and does it, and
that's mad.
Yeah, that kind of became a thing for me. But yeah, I remember, I think I said to you that I went on the pitch and I honestly couldn't make a 5-yard pass. I was so nervous. I was shaking. I remember taking a few bad touches, and luckily the managers knew. The assistant manager I was very close with, he was also a right back, and I was a right back. And I was on that side of the pitch. So I just spoke to him he kind of, the game that I'm talking about, he kind of reassured me, and I was fine in the end. But it was such a weird feeling to know that if I didn't do that, I would feel worse.
Mad, yeah.
Really weird to look back at that now.
Isn't it just makes you think how crazy the brain is?
Yeah. Yeah. And
like
I think
how powerful that is, that you can literally physically change your ability because you have built this thing up in your head.
Yeah. Because you don't believe in yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
And I do feel like that's why it's helped me so much now, because I know that, and I know the power that belief has. And I know this is jumping around a bit, but it brings me back to Copenhagen.
Yeah.
I went into that race completely confident, and I'm not an elite runner by any means, but I ran my best. I ran a PB. Yeah. I felt amazing. I was happy.
Mental, by the way, 118. That's insane, bro.
I'm proud of that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I guess it just shows if you're happy, if you're confident, you'll go and perform. But if you're nervous, if you're overthinking, if you're in anything in life, and I think even to the point of sort of meeting new people, going to new places, opportunities, whatever it is, if you're not confident, it's almost like a superpower if you have it.
Yeah.
And you show up and you feel amazing. But if you don't have it, then it feels like you lose all ability in yourself.
It is crazy because I've had moments where I don't have too much self-confidence and moments where I feel confident. And I sometimes feel like I go too far the other way when I've got like a good level of confidence, because I feel like I'm as a character, I'm quite laid back. But also sometimes when I have that extra layer of confidence, I feel like sometimes I look back, or if it was making a video or whatever, I was like, I'm doing too much. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's that element of it where I'm going like, am I overcompensating for something here? Because I know that I'm going to be in a nervous situation. Do I need to throw more shit at a wall? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It is. It's I do feel like it's a very hard balance. And like I said about the football thing, it's almost kind of a toxic masculinity. We're trying to avoid that.
Yeah.
So you don't want to do too much, but I guess it's finding the sweet spot of,
for sure,
feeling like yourself and not like you have to prove anything to anyone.
Yeah. When I was on the fellas, I'd have like sort of chunks of episodes where I would let the hate really get to me, and it would then affect my performance on the pod as a result.
Yeah.
So like if I got a week where people were just like ripping into me, which happens because let's say there's something that's said and you don't agree with, and like you kind of speak your mind about something and people then just don't like what you're saying. Like it happens, like people don't agree with people all the time. And I'd notice like next pod I'd do, I'll be like super apprehensive about opening my mouth and like playing my part and like being myself. And I catch myself doing it and go, there's actually zero reason as to why I should let this affect me.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I find myself relating a lot of things in my life to football. Because when I was younger, it was such a massive part of it. But it's like if you make if I get beat at the back post by my winger and the manager is then for the whole week, you need to do this, you need to do that. The whole next game, that's all I'm thinking about. And I'm nervous, and I think it's almost going to happen because I'm thinking about it so much. And it does relate to that. And it's such a hard thing having confidence for anyone. Finding the balance and being able to just be yourself is maybe one of the hardest things. We always try to overcompensate, or we feel too nervous to do what we want to do.
So obviously you had all this stuff go on through football. What was the moment where you decided to sort of hang up your boots, literally?
So I moved home after that and played non-league for maybe 3 years.
Oh, really? Okay.
Because you can still play non-league to a very good level. Some of my friends still play non-league full time.
And what?
Now,
mind me asking, what sort of money are you making in non-league?
Quite a lot more than you'd expect. Really, you can go from sort of £200 a game to some lads are on £1,000, £1,500 a game.
Wow!
Plus they're working a full-time job. So
really,
yeah, I was shocked by that.
Do they not have to train a few times a week?
Yeah, 2 times a week usually is like the norm, but not a lot of lads train. A lot of them skip it and just play games because they're
that good.
They're better, yeah. There's a lot of very good footballers that played Premier League academies or played first team football League 1 or 2. that are now playing non-league.
Because they just prefer it.
Yeah.
That's so sick to hear.
Yeah.
People have essentially like gone, it's like when people go to a really top law firm, okay, and they're getting paid 150k starting salary, but then like, okay, I have no life. I've literally sold my soul to this business. I could earn maybe 70k less a year, still do the thing I love, but also at the same time have a life.
Exactly, yeah. Exactly that.
It's a good mindset.
It's very similar to that. I've got some friends now that are still, obviously I'm a bit biased because they're my friends, but they could probably play League 2, League 1 football,
really?
But they enjoy messing around. They go out on the weekends and they get to play for more fun than...
What's in Plymouth, obviously where you're from, what's the kind of like local football scene like? Obviously you've got Plymouth Argyle. Is there a big kind of, I guess the club's in a bit of a shit place at the moment, but is there a kind of focus on Plymouth being like almost a mecca for local kids?
Yeah, I think so. Now, I've got to say, I'm completely out of the loop with football. I had 2 years after I stopped playing, maybe a year or so, where I was like, I hate football. I don't want to talk about it. And I just didn't watch anything to do with it. But Plymouth is a massive, like a lot of my dad and his friends, that's their weekend. Yeah. They'll go on away trips. They'll do sort of weekends away based around the football.
Yeah.
And obviously in the last few years, when they're in the Championship, it was amazing. They loved it. Yeah. They're having a tough time now, but it's definitely a big part of the city. Football is everything when we grew up. Every single one of my mates.
Like growing up, it's like, oh, I'm going to play for Plymouth one day. Like, is the local kids, is that like the thing?
Yeah, definitely. I think a lot of, there's been some quite good footballers from Plymouth that has gone and played elsewhere, like Jack Stevens, who plays for Southampton. He's a local lad. And a lot of people had that aspiration to play for Argyle so that they could get a move elsewhere. Because when we were younger, they were sort of League 2, League 1. But yeah, all of my mates played for Argyle. I just didn't play for them. I played for Torquay instead.
Yeah. So you were a rival.
Yeah. The rubbish rivals.
So yeah, so you mentioned about sort of go to play non-league. You stopped playing football altogether. Yeah. And you haven't played since, have you?
No.
When was that?
That was, I want to say 2 seasons ago. So over 2 years ago now. I was playing non-league and I thought that non-league would be fun. I thought it would be a mess around, like your typical sort of local football. And it was almost more pressure. And
because you were the good guy.
Yeah. And first I wanted to take it a bit more serious. I went to a team that was doing well. I went to Truro City, who now are in the National League, doing really well, but their ambition was to go up the leagues. And then I was still feeling that pressure. And as the season went on and we started winning games and we were close to promotion, I felt that nerves again. And I was honestly manager's favourite for the first 6 months of the season.
Yeah.
I couldn't put a foot wrong. Second half of the season, I was awful because the same feelings came back, the nerves, the pressure, and I just lost confidence again. So then basically for 2 years, I just kept dropping down the non-league sort of ladder. And then my last season, I played with a lot of my mates, like the best changing room I've ever been in. We all messed around, went out after every game. It was sort of like, I just messed around and had fun. We had a lot less of a budget than everyone else in the league. And we came second, went to the playoffs, and it was amazing. I loved it. We went on an end of season holiday and I just decided like, that's it. I'm happy to leave there. And I told all the lads and they were like, oh, don't be stupid. Like, you'll probably go and play elsewhere next year. But I just did. I went to a higher up team, Tiverton, back home. For one game, we played Exeter in pre-season. And I was just like, no. I think I said to someone, oh, I wish I didn't have to play on Tuesday. We had something on the Sunday. And I said, I wish I didn't have to play on Tuesday. And they were like, you don't have to play. And I think that clicked to me like, yeah, I might be okay at football, but I don't have to play football. It's not, I think it was a big release, that moment of, I don't have to play and it's not who I am. Because you hold on to that. Like, it sounds silly, but I feel like a lot of footballers or maybe athletes that dropped out of their sport still hold that in their heart or in themselves, that they think that they still have to be that person and live up to that expectation.
There's such a kind of like power in like realizing that you don't have to do something. And like, I think we have become potentially as society a bit too focused sometimes on protecting peace, and it then as a result affecting people that you love and care about. I think there's a line between protecting your own peace long term, which is like something you've done here. You've gone, football is the common denominator here for my mental health being poor. If I remove it and just live my life, then hopefully I can start making changes. And I think that's sick. I think sometimes people go too much the other way, and then almost like a sense of looking out for one another dips off. I saw a video, and Izzy and I were chatting about it, and it was about like building your village. I don't know if you've heard about this kind of whole concept.
No, I've heard about, yeah.
You know, back in the day, you'd be like on your road and you'd go and knock on one of your neighbours' houses and say, hey, do you have like a pint of milk? Yeah. And that was just a normal thing. Suddenly, like everyone just relies on themselves now, and they just do things for them. They don't do things for others.
Yeah.
Like say back in the day, my mum got tonsillitis or something. Obviously, I'm a kid, and the neighbour comes knocking, brings food. That just doesn't happen now. That sort of like selflessness to pay it forward doesn't seem to happen as much anymore.
No, I agree. Yeah, I feel like we're all just so. I did see sort of a lot of posts at one point, sort of recently, about how we're all so independent and we're all focused on like self-love, which is good.
Yeah,
but it's gone too far.
Yeah,
and we're now like, well, I don't need.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
That's what I mean. Like, I think focusing on yourself is amazing, but making sure it's not at the detriment almost of others.
Of course. And I think, like you say about finding your village, like I've found that in the last 2 years, since I was very lucky that when I left football, I went, you've met Harry, I met my best mate. I already knew him, but we were on a run maybe 2 weeks after that.
Yeah.
And I will happily say that like him and my group of friends now, like leaning on each other, being each other's help, like they've supported me massively, even in the posting content sort of stuff. I've lost a lot of friends, as you'll probably know, of people being like, that's cringe or that's embarrassing. And
I don't understand this. I really don't understand it, because the whole thing of it's cringe until it works, like, is just so true. But I feel like in your situation, I'm intrigued to hear what you mean by that, because I feel like I've been so in that world for so long. My mates all like took the piss out of my job, but when my job was like no longer my job and it was my life, I think they were so used to it by that point. What happened with you with friends then?
I guess it's not so much friends, because I've
still be
got
friends if they did. I've
still got like sort of some great friendship groups that I'm in that have supported me the whole time. Maybe they don't even mention it. They're just happy with it. And if I'm doing well, then they're happy for that. But I think it's about the people around that kind of turn their nose up, or they think like you're doing something cringe or wrong, when really they probably follow people on social media that post all the time. They love them and they're inspired by them or whatever it is. But when it's someone you know, it sort of feels different. And I understand that. I guess I don't know, I kind of switched off to that, and back to the point of why I started posting. I just reminded myself of why I was doing it. And I just wanted to help someone that was once in my position.
Yeah.
So if I posted a video, and like I still kind of get it now, like if I see someone I know has liked it, that's not in my friend group or whatever, if they don't follow me, but I know them from school or an old job, I kind of still feel that sort of awkward feeling.
Do you?
Yeah, but
I sometimes think it's like quite cool, because I know nothing about that person's life anymore, but they somewhat give a shit what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
I do get that. And I guess they're probably supportive of it. They might not even be saying these things, but there has been people that have sort of dropped out of my life that think it's cringe or it's embarrassing, and where I live, there's not really many content creators.
Yeah.
And if there is, they've moved to London or they've moved away, or there's a lot of maybe girls that do it and they're very different. They're sort of in a group, aren't they? Whereas boys, it's a bit more
it's so interesting, man, because like guys and girls, the way they interact with social media, and it's so polar opposite. So just to give you an example, Izzy, her friends are all just such boomers when it comes to social media.
Right.
Like they don't use Instagram. They never do Instagram posts. They scroll it and stuff, but they're just not Instagram people. That's it. Whereas like, say she's 1 year younger, her friendship group might just be chronically online.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? With my mates, it's a bit similar, except like some of the lads are a bit more online. I think blokes are a bit different. Like we all watched YouTube a lot younger. Like, you know, there was loads of people in our life that were very much like big characters. You know, you had like people like KSI that you watched growing up, and there's been that law to male audiences, I feel, for a long time. But it's just so interesting to hear how different people react, because like women are so much more kind of carefree to applaud something. Like you'll get a message, like Izzy will get a message off a friend going, "This is sick," or like, "Well done for this." With blokes, it's only ever a certain time.
Yeah. And I feel like, especially with my style of content, it's very, I've got to the point now where I'll post how I feel. I'll post a lesson that I've learned or just a quote that I like.
Yeah.
And it's very, like my audience, I think, is very female heavy.
Is it?
Yeah.
Have you looked at the stats of it?
I think, I don't look at too much of that stuff.
No.
I don't really know, but I'm sure it's majority women, which I like because I'm posting stuff from a male's perspective, and I hope that the ladies that are watching it then realize what they can do to help the men in their lives.
Yeah.
That's how I like to see it. But I will get the odd message every now and again from a friend from school maybe, or someone that I just know, friend of a friend, and they'll be like, "I saw that video that you posted and that really helped the situation." Then we'll have a little chat about what they're going through maybe.
Yeah, I love it when you get random blokes messaging saying how much something helped.
Yeah.
That's special, man.
Yeah, it's so good. Especially when it's coming from someone that you feel like could be in your position.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's really special. I had someone sort of come up to me about, it was really random at work actually.
What were they, because you used to work at a golf club, they were playing golf?
Yeah. So they came in and they looked at me really strange. And I was like, what have I done? Or have I like got food on me or something? And then he was like, no way, I just ran a 10K on the weekend because I saw your video. I posted a video about the quote, "Just keep moving."
Mm-hmm.
And he said I wasn't going to do it. And then I thought, you know what? Like, what does it matter if I run a bad time or whatever? And it was just amazing to like, especially in that situation where I kind of kept my work and content very separate, to see that it made my day. And it made me think, you know what, even if I think other people are making negative comments, that one is going to keep me going for another few months at least.
Absolutely. Sometimes like the most anxiety inducing thing is like on Insta, when you post a video that's somewhat, I guess, emotive or something that's a bit open about yourself or your life, and you see the amount of people that have sent it to people.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, like, why have they sent it? Like, I really have detached massively now from like looking into that sort of stuff. But I guess when you're working in a world that there is a lot of judgment, you kind of can't help but sort of deep things, I guess, a little bit. But when you do get that one message of "this really helped me," that makes it all worthwhile.
Exactly. Yeah. And it's both, I don't even know if it's better or not from either side, but knowing someone or not knowing them, it's like both of them is just amazing, because if you know them, it's like they could very easily not say anything.
Yeah.
And they could hide away from it and just be like, yeah, that was a good video, but not mention it. But they've gone out of their way to tell you, especially if it's face to face. Like some people at Run Club maybe have said it or whatever. Or someone online, it's like, sometimes I forget that people are seeing my videos because I'm kind of posting, I said to you earlier, like journal entries basically. Yeah. Especially on TikTok, and I've started posting them a little bit more on Instagram now, but it's like those are just things in the back of my mind that I'm just getting out. Yeah. And then for someone else to say that they relate is just crazy. And I think it relates back to, I used to honestly, when I reached that low point and I left football, I honestly thought that I was the only person in the world that felt like that. And like people would, I guess that was just part of it, of being at a low point. Do you think there's an
element of like the fact that because you were so heavily in that football echo chamber, everyone else who may have been struggling, they probably didn't want to admit they were struggling. If they did, then they wouldn't then be in the space anymore.
Yeah, that's very true. And I feel like I looked at which is something I wouldn't say to do now.
Yeah.
I looked at everyone else and thought they were doing so amazing. And you're so heavily judged on Saturday.
Performance, yeah.
Saturday, and then through the week, it's like, what's gonna happen next Saturday?
Your worth is essentially how well you kick a ball for 90 minutes. That's insane.
Exactly that. And you grow up as that. That's your standard. If you're good on a Saturday, you're good in life, it felt like. But I looked around at everyone else and thought they were doing so amazing, so no one understands me. I'd go and see, like I said, the psychologist and think, you don't really get it. Like, she was talking to me and she was so much help now that I look back. But I didn't think she understood. My parents that I would go to, like even other footballers that would say, I've been through this. Like at the PFA, they've got a lot of help there. They would say, I've been through this and like it will be better. Like you'll get better and stuff like this. I would just be like, you don't get it. Like, you've never been in my position before. You're not me. That's how I felt in the time. But now I'm like, if I post a video on TikTok and get people saying that they understand, I'm just like, that is the polar opposite to how I once felt. So no one did.
Once you left football and you made that decision to go, did you have any moment in particular that was exceptionally dark? Were there any times which were really, really testing?
Yeah. So I guess it came a few years after, maybe a year or so after you fully cut ties.
Non-league, you stopped kicking ball about?
Not then. Okay. I only felt better from the day I left non-league football. But the day so when I left Southampton, I felt like a massive weight off my shoulders. I remember the 23s manager came in at the end of the season and I hadn't been there all year. I'd gone back home to play on loan because I just couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
So the end of the season comes and you get your contract decision. And obviously he told me I didn't have a contract. And Is it
literally like that? So you'll finish the season, it'll be like, right, this is contract day.
Yeah, it's usually a few months before the end of the season. You'll go we had like a meeting room and the manager will tell you if you've got a contract or not, basically.
One-on-one.
Keeping you. Yeah. And it's to the point where it's not this official that you're lining up to go into this room, but you know that all the lads that aren't on contract anymore, or their contracts are up, you know that you're having your meeting that day because they've called someone for it. So I went into that meeting and
knowing that you had...
I knew, like, I had kind of detached from it at the start of the season. Yeah. We came back from a pre-season trip and I just basically asked to move home because I was in such a bad place, and they were fully supportive of that and said I can go home. And I was still contracted for the whole year, which was amazing because I had that time to sort of step away. But I went into the meeting, spoke to him. He then came and found me after the meeting and was like, you've taken that so well. Like, what's up? And I think it was because I detached so much. So I didn't really have a low point for a while until I moved home. I was playing non-league. And I think it hit me that like my dream is gone. The thing that I'd worked for my entire life I've just wasted, is what it felt like. And then I hit a real low point to where like I didn't know what I was going to do. I didn't know if I basically felt like I should just give up on everything.
Yeah.
And just, I worked, so I started working at JD. So I was playing non-league football, but earning enough to sort of just get by. But I was doing nothing throughout the week. So my parents were like, you need to get a job. So I started working in JD once a week just for that thing to do, basically. They didn't want me to just be sat around. So I kind of thought like, I'm going to work here forever. And that's it. Like, I've got no dreams. I'm not going to be happy again. That's how I felt. Nice. And I remember there was a time where I think I was driving home from a football match, and I remember it like it was yesterday, and it still gives me that feeling, like I said. But I was driving home and we get off the bus and then drive back from the meeting point. And I just pulled over in a lay-by, and it was raining, and I just burst out crying. Wow. And I was like, that was like rock bottom for me. And then like, I remember I've actually got the song tattooed on my wrist, song playing in the car. And I was obviously like, you know what it's like when you're real sad. And I was just sat there crying in the car, and I couldn't hear anything. I was completely numb to the world, it felt like. And then this song came on, and I just sort of snapped at that point where I was like, and I'm so grateful for this, that it did happen, that it just clicked. And I was like, you know what? Like, I'm gonna do this for me. Whatever it is that I want to do, I'm going to start looking for things to do in my life. I'm going to start running. I'm going to go to the gym again. I'm going to start loving who I am again. And it was just, but from that moment, I sort of started to rise back up. But that moment was, I guess it was like make or break. It was that moment. I just remember it. There's this noise. I won't say what song it is because I'll just keep that to myself. But there's a noise in the song.
That, man.
Yeah, yeah.
Some things don't need to be fully shared.
No, people might see it in a photo on my wrist, but not many people. Like, I haven't even explained that to friends, family.
That's wicked, man.
Yeah.
No, I feel honoured that you shared that then.
No, I'm glad I did. But there's a noise in the song, and I've got the time of that noise. It's like a very specific noise after a silence in the song, and it felt like I just opened my eyes. And it's crazy now to think that the lyrics of that song do really resonate to that growth. But it was such a strange feeling of, I guess, either I sort of feel like this forever or get worse, or I decide to like go for it. And I remember driving home and I was sort of happy again. Okay. Really strange sort of feeling, but that was the moment that.
So it's like the pivot, I guess.
Yeah. And I feel like I had to reach that realization and that low to be able to come back up. And I know for people that are struggling, and I would have said this back then, if you say, well, if you hit rock bottom, then that's probably the best thing that can happen, that you can go back up from there, because there's only one way to go. But it did really feel like that for me.
So I heard this therapist the other day say about movement, and not movement as in running, but movement as in your life. So if you're going through some shit, it might feel like in your situation working at JD, you felt, I'm stopped. Like, I'm not progressing. I've done nothing. Yeah. And also, like, you're there still. Okay. But you're always moving forward. You're never moving backwards. So it's almost like, yeah, okay, it's going to get really fucking low, but you are still technically edging forward.
Yeah.
And that one day is just going to start moving up, because there's no way for it to go back down. And it's almost like you got to kind of visualize your life. If you've ever got a low point, it's always something to kick it on. There's always going to be something that stops you from going back.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. And that's so true. And I always post stories about how they will get better.
Yeah.
Like, good things are coming, and things in the end, things will work out. And that's similar to that. You will rise again. You will feel good again.
Life always goes up and down, mate. I've had some real, like, my like mental health has been so, I don't want to say straightforward, because I have had moments where I'm like, who the fuck am I? Like, and I've almost got to kind of low points, affected relationships and all this sort of stuff. And I had to give myself almost a wobble. And like, one of my best mates, we were having a coffee once, and he almost kind of like said, like, we need to meet up. And I was like, felt almost like I was in trouble. Yeah. And it was great, because he sat down, he said, Cal, like, I feel like I'm losing you as a mate. And this was like when I was really just like dogging myself out at work and focusing on my life was that job. And I was forgetting about the implication it was having on close friends of mine.
Yeah.
And therefore, as a result, losing touch with people that mean so much to me. And I remember him calling me out on it and said, Cal, like, I'm not gonna lie, like, it almost feels like our friendship is disconnecting. And I just remember meeting up with him, just fucking burst into tears, like, in front of him. Yeah. I felt so bad. And I was like, as a human being and as someone who I value like a brother, he's actually one of my best men. How can I do this to them? Like, how can I make them feel like they are not important to me?
Yeah. I feel like that's also where we obviously say for people to speak up, friends to reach out. That is almost more important to maybe grab a friend and be like, look, come on.
I actually think that moment has genuinely like shaped me so much as a man-to-man friend.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really ever... It can be such a selfish... This world that we work in can be the most selfish industry in the world. And I ultimately think there is nothing but like sort of essentially benefiting us. In the time that I've been working for myself, despite it being me that I'm working for, I've been the most selfless I've been for the last 5 years.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get that. And I'm kind of looking forward to that.
Yeah.
Starting to work for myself so that I can make time for other people. Because when I was working, it feels like I'm I wake up, go for a run, go to work, maybe go to run club, which is with a lot of my friends. And then,
but even then, if you rock up at run club on having a shit day, or you've had a busy day, and all you're thinking about is like, I need to get home because I need to post this, and this. You then don't enjoy the moment.
No, you're not present.
You're not present. Yeah,
I completely get that, and I've felt that recently. This last maybe 6 months, I have noticed that, like you say, where I see a friend and I'm like, I haven't reached out to you. I haven't spoke to you in ages. Obviously, we're still friends, and that's a great thing that you can still be friends and not see each other all the time. But yeah, sort of check myself of like,
for sure,
I'm pouring into not the wrong things, but I need to make time for that too.
There is such an element of that, and if you're listening and watching and feel like you work too much and like you feel almost that you don't get enough back for the work that you put in, stop. Just stop. Just care less and care more about the people around you that care about you. Because I honestly had so many moments where I was like, even affecting my relationship, like I was putting no time and energy into making Izzy feel like a special person, and it made me feel like shit because I know that I'm better than that.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course. And that's where I really struggle with things, is that I'm blaming myself, but I don't change.
Yeah.
So I notice those things similar to you just said, and then you're blaming yourself, and it's just beating up the relationship you have with yourself as well, and then it just affects all the other ones. But yeah, I think being over in Copenhagen made me realize that a lot as well. Like people say it's life-work balance, not work-life balance, because they're all 100%. Like I went for a run, all the boys, we went for a run early on the Friday, I think, or a walk or a coffee, whatever it was. And everyone's like cycling around, going for a coffee and then going to work.
Yeah.
I can't even imagine going for coffee before work.
Mate.
Like it would just be...
This is what it's like in Australia. Genuinely, like when I was out there in January, I think that was another seminal thing for me to just take the plunge and go on my own, because I was there with friends who were also working for themselves, and I was like, literally, these people wake up at like 7 a.m. Go 7 a.m.'s late as well in Australia. You go for your coffee, your breakfast, and then everyone's like, cool, I'm off into the office, and that was it.
Yeah.
But do you know what I mean?
It's just such a more balanced, and obviously balance is such a hard thing to find, but it just feels like they've got that, and everyone's more happy, and everyone seems like they've got more friends.
Yeah.
There's such good communities, and obviously we have that here.
I think
you've got your run club and similar, but
I think communities are being built so much better now, because people mock run clubs and stuff all the time. And there are some run clubs in the past that clearly have been made for the wrong reason and stuff. But let's say you and I, it's a pillar of someone's week, and it's a pillar of how they meet like-minded people.
Yeah.
And I think we are slowly going back to that whole common interests and meeting people who you would associate yourself with because you have that common ground, not being forced into friendships because, you just work with them, or you just went to school with them. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and it's so hard to find that, I think, elsewhere, and friendships and relationships. Like, where are you going to meet people at our age? So, like, one of my best mates, Alex, he was the first person to come to our run club that no one knew. He moved to Plymouth for uni, and he just came along. He was the first one, and now like we're best mates. We've got our friendship group, and it's just like, if we didn't have run club, he would be at he's not really a typical uni lad, but he's at uni, and he would just be, he would just be, what would he be doing? Because he's got no friends at uni because they're all going out all the time. But
he's found his common ground.
Yeah, and it's obviously, like you say, there's a lot of negativity around run clubs. Like sometimes I almost feel like I shouldn't be promoting my run club from my account or my perspective, because people think, oh, look, another person that started a run club. But we've been going for over 2 years now.
Yeah, you guys are OGs in the game, man.
Yeah, it was, don't get me wrong, there was run clubs, the sort of content run clubs before we started, but we're in a very different part of the country where it's not really about that. We post videos and photos, but it's not about that. It's more like, most people don't even want to run, they just want to meet and have a coffee.
Yeah, bro, that's the best part of it, man.
Yeah.
Like whenever we do our Saturday 5Ks, like we do our run, and then we're just there like for an hour after, just like having coffee, eating pastries, and just chatting. You've gone through a lot of like tests, with your mental health. What have you found to be the kind of the best idea of balance for you?
I I don't want to say I've found it, because I'm not saying I've found the answer or I know exactly what I'm doing, but I said to a friend that I want a peaceful life with chaotic pursuits. Just randomly. I said that once.
Sick.
And I think that's what I want. Like, I love living by the sea. I love quietness. I love just sitting there reading a book, watching the view, as stupid as that might sound to anyone. But I think being able to have that grounded, connected, relaxed, like we say, that lifestyle where you can see the people you want to see, go for a coffee in the morning, go for a stroll, whatever it is. And like with work, if I can try and make time for the things that I want to do before or after work.
Yeah.
And just feel like I'm filling my day with things that feel good for me, but also do some not crazy stuff, but some stuff that's going to push me.
Throw in some mad shit in there,
Stuff that's going to push me and make me question if I can do it or not, because I feel like that is important. When I stepped away from a professional career that was very full on, I felt like, I don't want to do any of that. I don't want to challenge myself. I want an easy life.
Yeah.
Is what I was searching for. But I guess training for a marathon or a half marathon or whatever it is, people training for Ironman, like that, I feel like that adds to it.
Does that scratch the itch that you got from football that you enjoyed?
Massively, yeah.
Yeah.
The competitive side, and even like the togetherness of a group of people training for a race and then going and doing it. It sounds so stupid, because football is my job.
Yeah.
It was way more serious than the running thing, but like you can set a goal and go and do it with running.
That's the thing. That's the beauty of it, bro. Like, it's the most freeing sport to enter. And it's the most freeing sport to stay in, because everything you do is for you. And like, okay, I literally said, recorded with Izzy earlier, I literally said to her, I was like, even though she at Berlin Marathon got a slower time than she did at London, I was like, you were a stronger runner despite getting a slower time, because you were able to hold a pace on your own. You were able to smile your way through it. You were able to enjoy the moment. You were able to just stop yourself from walking and continue running. Like, you wouldn't have been able to do that at London without the aid of me.
Yeah, and it was the hottest.
Obviously, I don't want to say like without the aid of me. That makes you sound arrogant. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, it was her first one. There was so many more trials and tribulations to it. Whereas the growth of it, that's almost like that's like 3 points in a football match. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, definitely. And that's what I love about running. Like you said, doing it with a smile on your face, and it doesn't matter. We spoke about this briefly earlier, but it doesn't matter if you go and run a PB, or you go and, I don't know, if you beat your PB, or you're 20 minutes, an hour behind. It doesn't matter. If you've put in that effort over the training block, if you've worked hard and you know you've given it your all on the day, and even if you didn't, if you stopped, I've had this in London, I wasn't going to reach my goal. Just over halfway, I thought, you know what, I'm going to make the most of this, and I'm going to enjoy it, and I'm going to wave at everyone that's waving, high five everyone that wants to.
Yeah.
And that's also an achievement. And I can't remember his name. Sam said that PB is not a time, it's a feeling. I can't remember his last name.
Oh, which Sam are you talking about?
Is he called Sam? Big fitness influencer. He's been injured for a while with his back.
Oh, Tom Trotter. I know the video you're talking about. It was after the London Marathon. Because he was going for sub 3, and he had a bit of an injury scare in the build-up. I think it was like hamstring or something.
It was, yeah.
And he then got it, and Just Giving stopped him at the finish line.
Yeah.
And he said that.
And he's so spot on. And that's what I love about running. And that's what I mean with the balance. Just having that thing that you can work towards. It can be, I don't know, for me, like if I want to post 5 times a week, if I want to make that a goal because I enjoy doing it and I want to do it and I want to stick to it and not make excuses, I'll go and do it. And that's the sort of the chaotic part of chasing a pursuit.
Yeah.
Alongside, like, I love a quiet, chilled, relaxed life, but I want to add that to it and keep being competitive myself. Yeah. Keep chasing some
What's
stuff.
What started it all with running then? Because you, I feel like, have been running a similar amount of time to me. Like, I'm not saying, because obviously your level was a different level, but in terms of like when you really fell in love with it, I feel like we're on a similar timeline.
Yeah, Yes.
I was like back end of 2023 when I started getting back into it. I did it at uni briefly for a half marathon, but
yeah, it would have been the same time. Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember the end of summer 23. It would have been. Yeah. We basically, I was, like I said, when I hit that rock bottom, I decided I'm just going to sort of work on myself. I was going to the gym at stupid early times every day, and I was going for a run in the evenings because I had no commitments anymore to football, or I was just filling all my
time.
Yeah, I was filling my time with that. And then after a while, kept sort of sticking at it, and then met a friend, Harry, who I'd been friends with for years, but we saw each other, I feel like maybe like out for drinks on a Saturday night once. I was out with a different group of friends. He was with a different group of friends, and he had seen me on social media running, so said like, we should go for a run. And honestly, about 15 people that night said, oh, we should get out for a run, mate. And I was like, yeah, sure, we'll go for a run. Like, we're not going to. It's just a typical, everyone's having a drink, so they just say that because they know that's all I've been doing. I've not been doing anything else. So then maybe the Tuesday comes after the Saturday, and Harry's like, messaged me like, oh, do you fancy 5K tonight? And we were your typical new runners. We were going out, or like typical lad runners. We were going out and sprinting for 5K. Yeah. Literally PB
That's
every week.
That's how it all starts, bro.
In a pair of like non-running shoes. And then, yeah, we sort of stuck at it. We would run together all the time, but also separately. And he's just so good at running. He works unbelievably hard, probably harder than anyone I know, but he's such a good runner. So I just chased him around for 6 months, and then we started a run club. But during that time, I think I found just the love for the fact that I was getting up and putting my energy into something.
Yeah.
And obviously you got the sort of newbie gains, and I just felt so much better in myself. Every time I'd get home, I'd be like feeling amazing. So I guess over and over again, that feeling just kept growing. And then we signed up for our first race, and that was when it sort of became a lot more to me, where I was like, no, I'm going to work at this and try and get a time.
Yeah. And you got sub 3 in your first marathon.
Yeah.
Crazy, bro. Yeah. Mad guy.
But it only got worse from there. So that was just one of them where at the time in my life, I put everything into running. I didn't miss. So I started a runner plan, didn't miss a single session. Genuinely, I haven't had that since, for Mercia, yeah. So that was 2024, yeah. Would have been, yeah, 2024. And I've not done this since, but I didn't miss a single session. Like, I did every single one. And even if I basically manipulated my time so that it would give me a prediction of a sub 3. So that those sessions,
got you. So you basically tricked the system to make them think you were a better runner than you were. And then you were like, I want to get a sub 3.
Yeah, so we ran it was funny really. We ran a 10K race the first week of the 16-week block. And there's a guy that was at my old work, one of the members at the golf club, who ran a 2:34 marathon, maybe, I don't know, 30 years ago. So you think about the time difference now. He was an elite runner.
And that's before carbon shoes. Yeah. That is before any sort of extra cushion. That's crazy. Mental.
He showed me photos. They look like they're running in like your Lots Property PE kit. Yeah. But he said, we ran this 10K sub 40. And it was a hilly course, and he had run it a previous year, and he was like, oh, so you must be going for sub 3 in your marathon then. I didn't even know what that was. I had no idea obviously I know what sub 3 means, but in terms of marathon, I was like, I don't know. I put 4 hours on my predicted time to start with. So he said that, and I was like, you know what?
But you got the sub 40?
Yeah, first time, yeah.
In a hilly 10K?
Yeah, it was just one of those. Obviously, I had the carry on from football. I was still sort of fit from that.
That is a big common denominator. I think I know so many people that played football and are serious runners. Gabriel Smith used to play uni football. I think he played it for Bristol Uni.
Yeah.
And he's like unbelievable now.
Yeah, it's a very transferable thing, and football's very quick and sharp. So when it's almost feels like running's easier fitness wise because there's not so much short sort of stuff. But so he told us, he was like, oh, you're going to go for sub 3 then? And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, well, you're going to run less than 3 hours in the marathon. So then that was, from that second, it was like, I had nothing else going on in my life. The only friends I saw were, like you say, I sort of blocked everything out. And I wouldn't do that again, but I would only run. So that was like my North Star. That kind of helped me. That massively helped me in all walks of life. That 16-week training block, and then ticking
Shout
off
out
that
runner.
goal. Yeah, big shout out to runner. Like that was before I knew anything about it.
That must be surreal now, sitting here as someone who works with them.
Yeah, it's crazy. That crazy.
Must be insane.
I've only recently started to work with them. I'm really excited to do a race, but it is crazy. When I see like an email like that come through, I'm just like, because I talk about how I feel online.
Yeah.
That is...
Bro, let me tell you as well, like without glazing them as a company, because I will, and I have done, they are the best group of people. And I went away with them to Paris, one of the best weekends ever.
Yeah.
And obviously Berlin this weekend, Izzy wasn't doing it with them, but like, because Izzy's a runner ambassador, they just invited her to like loads of stuff. And like, we're just very welcoming of us both. And everyone there, all the runner ambassadors who are running it with them, they were like, this has been like one of the best weekends of my life. And everyone I've met feels like a friend, like an actual friend now.
Yeah.
And it's just special. It's that camaraderie. It's that, you know, that same common interest, all shooting for the same goal. Like, it's so cool.
Yeah. And it doesn't matter. Like, I'm really looking forward to getting around that. Obviously, I don't live in London, so it's hard to... There's been a couple of events in the last couple of months whilst I've been working with them that I haven't been able to go to.
Like the Ambassador Day.
Yeah, I would have loved to come up for that. But I'm excited to be around that. But like you say, everyone's running different times, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Everyone's working hard. And I just find in the running space, I know there's a lot of toxic stuff around it and people can say what they think about it, but like a lot of my friends now I've met through running, and we met through running, and it's like such a close bond. When you're working, you both know you're working hard at something. It just brings you closer. It really does.
Yeah, me and Hugo were laughing about this earlier because like Izzy has made some like really close friends from like Instagram, and one of which, Ellie, is like one of her bridesmaids, and like just really close. Yeah. And I was saying to Iz like yesterday how like I feel like I've met friends that have meant like so much to me, and like they're almost like they are your people. And I was just saying to Hugo, we were just having a chat and stuff, and we were actually finally talking about this podcast because like, you know, the last episode we did, like it was sick, like we love the idea of doing more of that and all this sort of stuff. And I was just like saying how, you know, mate, I really value you as a friend, and like it's been a pleasure getting to know you. And I said straight after, I was like, without sounding wet or anything, like, you know what I mean? And then he said the exact same thing back. He's like, mate, you've been so helpful, like a great friend. Is like, you know, I'm not sounding wet or anything. It's like, why as blokes do we do this? Like when we say something nice to our friends, we have to immediately justify it and go like, nah, I don't mean to sound like, you know, too much or...
Yeah, it's just like a hidden agreement of like...
It's so dumb.
Yeah, you have to justify that feeling to each other.
Sorry, I realised I've completely interrupted your sub-3 story. So you said like that was your focus from that point.
Yeah.
Didn't miss a session. Can I just ask, when you first started, were you able to run a sub 20 minute off the bat?
No, I actually didn't run. I would have done in sessions, but I remember that block being a lot of interval stuff. Like I was new to running. I didn't know what any of the sessions were.
Yeah.
But I remember running the sub 3, and then a friend of mine that I hadn't seen for a while, he's in the Navy. I think he was saying to his mates, like, oh, my mate just ran a sub 3. And he was like, what's your 5K PB? And at the time, I think it was like 22 minutes because I had never raced a 5K. I raced my first 5K a month ago because I went straight in with the marathon. Yeah. I feel like I want to give that a go, the 5K. But I was basically every session just emptying the tank. Like I would see a session with times like at like 4:15, say, and it was the hardest thing in the world, but I was like, I am doing this for myself.
Hitting the speed,
and I would just kind of do it, and it helped Harry being so much better than me at running because it was kind of like I could just stick with him. And we did a lot of, so his predictor was like 2:55, whereas mine was like 3:01 to 2:59. So any long run we did, I did his pace. And I think that really helped me because mentally as well, going into the race, like obviously I post a lot of mental sort of stuff and psychological stuff. And I think running or sport or life is just so focused on that, and that can help us so much more. So the gains of running faster for him helped me then in the marathon to think like, well, I've done this. We did a 30K as our last long run. We didn't do the 36. We failed that. I think it was 34 or 36. We failed that. I bonked and he passed out, and he tripped over a curb and rolled his ankle like 5 minutes later. So we were like, we're not doing this. We ran like 15K. That was supposed to be our peak week. But I say we didn't miss a session. We tried to do that one.
Yeah.
Maybe we missed that one. I forgot about that one. But the 30K, we did it, and we had 50 minutes after that 30K to run a sub 3.
Yeah.
We're like, we've got 10K or 12K to do in 55 minutes. If we go for it, we can do it. And that was kind of like a big boost. And I picked that up a lot in terms of like when I go into a race, I'm like, well, 3 months ago or 2 weeks ago, I did this, and that helped to Copenhagen. I ran a 5K PB, and I was like, well, I can go and run a half then.
Yeah,
I'll be all right,
bro. Then. So sick.
Yeah.
It's so sick. And obviously, your running progress has been a massive helper to your mental health, and you've documented that online. For you, Harrison, like over the last year of sharing content online, has there been one message that you've put out that has resonated with so many people, that has really been you can look back at it and go, that one's helped a lot of people?
There's definitely a few that come to mind, but the main one, I think, I can't even remember the exact words that I say, because like I said, they're kind of journal entries of, I'm say writing it down or saying it.
I get you. Yeah,
and it's out in the world. I'm obviously reminding myself. Every video I post is basically a reminder to myself, and it's probably a good giveaway of like what I'm going through in life. Very reflective of what's happening in my videos. But I remember I was just about. I think I just finished a run, got back to my car, and I just sort of sat down. And I remember saying that if we, so the overall message is that if we set ourselves a goal, maybe it can be as small or as big as you want it to be. But if we set a goal, we stick to it, and every day, maybe not every day we hit the goal, but if we make an effort to try and get better or get towards that goal, then we are doing a little bit of something for ourselves, and we're going to love ourselves for that, and that's going to resonate through the rest of our lives. So I think I remember saying, like, I'm not talking about like a David Goggins run 100 miles every day. I remember saying, like, if you want to get up and make your bed every day, and that's your promise to yourself, those tiny little things are going to stack up over sort of a week, a month, a year, and you're going to know that every day you've done something for yourself, and that keeps building. And that's how I think my life sort of went.
Yeah.
I sort of started showing up for myself after that day, and every day I would just try and do something that I was like, yeah, I'm proud of myself for that. And I can't remember exactly what I said in the video, but it was something about if every day you show up for yourself, you do something for yourself, and you make a promise and try as much as you can to stick for it. Maybe you're really ill one day and you miss it, or a week and you miss it. But as soon as you can, you give 100%, then you're going to thank yourself for it. And I think it's important to say it's not a David Goggins thing. It's not some crazy thing. It can be as simple as making your bed, getting your steps in, I don't know, reaching out to a friend, whatever it is. And that was the video, I think my first video that went really sort of, like, a lot of people saw that video and resonated, because I guess it's just that does help. It's Atomic Habits relates to that. That was a book I read.
That book. It was so good.
And I think that was around the time I was reading it, and it was just about stacking small things every day, or not even every day, every week, stacking something up that when you look back in a year, like, so much can change from a tiny little thing.
It is amazing how something like you telling someone on social media and breaking it down so simply of what they need to do to improve their life. And you're not even saying it in a preachy way. You're saying, I've done this and it's helped me. Here's what, if you're struggling, you can do. It's amazing how you just saying that can help so many people. Doesn't it make you feel like, because I sometimes feel like, how sad is it that so many people need to hear that?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it is. And it's tough to
sorry
know.
to interrupt, with all due respect as well, you are not someone they know, and you're not someone they've ever met.
Yeah.
Yet there's someone that's close to them not telling them that.
Yeah. And I think to that point of, like, they don't know me, and I haven't figured anything else out. I don't know any more than anyone else does. But I guess I just post reminders to people, because I always say this, if someone's like, say my mum's like, oh, you're helping people, my first response is I'm just telling people what they already know. They just need someone else to tell them. Like, say you come to me and say, like, look, mate, like, you're doing really well, like, keep going.
Yeah.
If I said, like, that's almost a reminder to you and me.
Yeah.
It sort of echoes, and I always think about that, how I am just telling someone what they already know, They already have it somewhere in there. They just need a stranger maybe to tell them that this thing, like I start a lot of my videos as reminders. Like, I need to remind you of this, or maybe you need to remember this. I'm just telling people what they already know, that we all should know. And I think people will just resonate that. And it's just a light bulb moment of, oh yeah, like I can do that.
Yeah.
I'm good enough, or I'm worthy of doing that thing.
Everyone's so close to the knowledge to improve their life, but almost like sometimes you just need that little, it's literally just like a edge of a strike of a match. Like it's the tiniest little change that will set it alight almost.
Massively.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, I don't know what it is about that. I saw a video about this the other day, but I just can't remember the explanation. But sometimes it does just need to come from a stranger. Like the people in your life. If my best mate comes to me and says like, oh mate, you're smashing it, like, well done. It's almost like, I just feel like, oh yeah, but I should be doing that. But if a stranger says it, it kind of digs a bit deeper. And I don't know, I always notice if a stranger says something to me that is a bit out of the blue. Say I meet someone on the street and they compliment your jacket.
Yeah.
You're gonna be like, oh, that random person just said that to me. My mate's obviously going to say that to me, but if a random person, a stranger, reminds you or tells you something, it does stick a little bit more, I feel like.
I remember I want to talk about this actually, because I feel like therapy is something that people don't really chat about too much, and my experience with it is quite limited, although I have done it. I used BetterHelp for I think 4 sessions or something, right. At the start of 2024. I was in a really bad place at controlling frustration about stuff. I wasn't being physical or anything. I wasn't lashing out on my mates or anything like that. It was more just I would get so frustrated about injustices and stuff that was happening to me, or stuff that was happening to friends of mine, or family members or whatever. I just get really wound up by situations in life that were pretty shit, done by pretty shit people. So actually, you know what? Some of the situations that I was getting frustrated at weren't even from shit people. But essentially, I was like, I need to do something about this because it's getting away from me, and I need to really just put a lid on it and work out why I'm doing this. And I went to therapy, so to speak, through BetterHelp Online, and I just spoke to this 70-year-old bloke for 4 hours in total, and he hardly said anything, mate. But I just spoke at him the entire time and just pulled this thread out of a jumper, and it just kept going and kept going and kept going. I was finding my own solutions to everything. And he was just saying these one-word things that were prompting, and these one questions that were prompting that sort of thought pattern. Have you had an experience with therapy that has been helpful?
Yes. So it's so funny you say that, because that's a great way of explaining something that I had similar with, and I wouldn't have thought of that. So when I left football, I saw a therapist straight away after that. This is why I say Southampton was so good, because they sorted all of that for me. I think they did 20 hours they paid for. And obviously therapy is not cheap.
No. And
it's not accessible to everyone. And that's why BetterHelp probably is a great option for a lot of people. But my first experience, I found very uncomfortable probably for the first 10 hours. And then when I did my second 10 hours, I sort of felt that. I felt like I was finding the answers. But I went into this room. Obviously, I'm in a low point. I'm super nervous about everything, no confidence. And I sat in a room. I was probably 5 meters away from it. So I'm sat here, 5 meters on the opposite side of the room was my therapist's chair. It felt so awkward and so
it's almost
foreign.
like something out of a film.
Yeah, it was really strange. And now I look back, she was a great match. She was very spiritual, and she was very quiet and not too in your face.
Yeah.
And that was really good for me. But it was very much like that. She would ask me a question. I would say I would give my answer, and then she would just stare at me. And I would get so awkward that she wasn't saying anything, that I would carry on talking.
I had the exact same thing.
Yeah. And it's interesting that you said about you were getting the answers. I feel like for me, obviously therapy is different for everyone, but it was a very good wall to bounce ideas off of. I just felt like she would ask me a question, I would answer it, but I was surface level.
Yeah.
I was literally just scratching the surface and saying the bare minimum because I had to be there.
Yeah.
Everyone in my life was telling me I had to be at therapy and I had to work on it. and get back to my usual self, all of these things. So I was there just for that.
But it's interesting you say that about people telling you to be there. I was also there because someone told me that I needed to do it, and they it wasn't like an ultimatum or anything, but it was like, you need to fucking sort your shit out. And it was like, I was almost forced, my hand was forced, but I'm so grateful for that, man.
Me too, yeah. And I had tried other things. Like I had seen the doctor at Southampton who was like a specialist in these sort of things. He thought that it was all like biological and I was just having a chemical reaction in my belly that was making me nervous. And I had, which makes sense, I was having too much adrenaline. So like when you go on a roller coaster and you feel sick, I was having that walking onto a football pitch. And that's what he sort of broke it down to. But I had tried medication. I tried all sorts. And then that was sort of the last straw. My parents and even friends were like, just go to a therapist. What's the worst that can happen? Like,
literally.
If you don't like it, don't have to go again.
You're not going to scrap your therapist.
No, like you might feel really nervous and cry the first session. I think I probably cried the first session, but it just, because I stuck at it, it just felt like that. And yeah, it's funny that you say you sort of got the answers from yourself, because that's now why this is sort of a little bit of a tangent, but it does relate. Like I journal every morning, and I know it sounds to lads, it sounds like the stupidest. It sounds like
not at all, mate.
Whatever. I've spoke to my mates about it at length, and some of them get it, some of them don't. But that is almost me. Like I'm still seeing a therapist now for other stuff, relationship stuff. Like we said, staying in contact with friends, stuff like that I still find hard.
Yeah.
That I'm sort of finding answers to through that. But the journaling is me just writing down, and all of a sudden an answer comes out of what I'm feeling. And I saw a quote, and I'd love to sort of mention whoever wrote it, but it was a random Pinterest quote with no sort of mention of who wrote it. But it said, I write because I don't know what I think until I read it on a page. So I now, not that I consciously do this, but when I write on a page, I just end up finding an answer to what I'm feeling. And like, I don't write. I know some people write religiously. I don't mind if I miss a day, but if I feel like it, I wake up and it tends to be every day, but I just write what I'm thinking and feeling, and it just comes out of me.
So good.
And all of a sudden it feels like I'm in that room again, bouncing answers off of a person.
So sick, man. Because I kind of not ever done physical journaling, but when I had that therapy session, I was very much in the headspace of, I used to get really, really anxious when Izzy was drunk and I wasn't maybe as drunk. Right. So we'd be on a night out, yeah, and let's say she was just on a different level to me, but I wasn't on that level. And it wasn't often that this happened. It was just, you know, when you have a night where you don't drink as much as everyone else, and you know everyone's hammered and you're not, and it's just one of those things. A couple of situations where I'm like, I get really anxious, and as a result, I'd end up just being like, just really like unfriendly. And I was like, why the fuck am I doing this? Because I don't control that I do it. I don't look at her and go, like, you're a twat. Yeah. I genuinely like look at her and have love. But I was getting this overwhelming like annoyance of like the situation. And I went to therapy, and it was one of the things that I raised about. And I was like, why am I doing this? Like, it makes no sense. Anyway, I worked out that it was my mum, one of her previous boyfriends who I lived with for like 4 years, was an alcoholic. So my immediate response was, I'm just shit scared of someone that's like basically drunk and I'm not.
Yeah.
And he was never like physical anything. He was never a horrible guy at all. But like, I was obviously living with someone that was an alcoholic. And it's like, I was like, what, 15 to like 18, I guess, around that.
Which is a key part of your life, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. And it's quite formative. And I never even thought of it, because I'm like, my relationship with alcohol, by the way, is absolutely class. Like, I've got a really good breakdown of it. Like, I can go 2 months without drinking, have a good blowout. I can even, like, let's say the 2 months go by, I can literally have 3 pints and stop there. Like, I don't like to like say it, but I genuinely think I couldn't have a better relationship with him.
Yeah.
But it's also like one of those things where I go, that in my past has really affected me of the way I look at other people drinking. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Yeah, I get that. And there's so many things, isn't there, that we don't think about. And I think that comes out in therapy. Things that you didn't think affected you, but did. And that's the deep dive into the mind and stuff that I don't know about. But
yeah,
like when one tiny experience, it can just shape you and you don't even know it. But it is interesting to hear that. Like I get that different things, like I haven't dove into everything that brought me to where I am now, but there's so many different things that can affect the way we show up to other people. And like even like something like that feels like it might not happen all the time, but it does happen.
But it was so annoying because it was like an emotion that I couldn't control, and I'd literally just be sat there like, why am I getting angry? Like why am I getting frustrated and finding annoyance in this situation? Like I have no reason to. Like, no reason to. And yeah, it's so weird, mate. And that's I'm glad I haven't really had that sort of situation since, which has been great because I realize what it is, and I realize it's just a deep-rooted disconnection with what that emotion is with alcohol.
Yeah, and it's crazy what that realization can do and switch. Like I think that a lot with the football thing. Now I'm, for example, coming here. If I was coming here a year ago, I would have been a nervous wreck. I probably wouldn't have come. I would have made up an excuse and not come. Yeah. But because I've sort of got into those emotions and why stuff like that happens, and I have the respect for it, for my nervous, anxious sort of time, but I now know like it's going to be all right. Like I'll be all right. And it's just knowing maybe some of the things that caused that to come back, and you know that like it's going to be all right. And you, like you say, you get rid of it. So
obviously, Harrison, you like posted loads on TikTok, and in the last like 6 months, you got big growth on TikTok from your mental health, motivational videos, and your kind of, I guess, online journal of what's going inside your head, really. You then flipped over and decided to start posting on Instagram. Can you just explain this? Because your following has just skyrocketed in the last few months, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like,
and it's been the possibilities of why it's been able to become now your job.
Yeah, it's great. Like to me, it's still very surreal. Like it's crazy to me. Like I still have that part of me where I'm like, oh, it's not that good. Like you're not doing that well, or you've not got that many. Like I still think about that because obviously followers is not everything, but the growth has been crazy. But I think the switch. Did you say about the switch over to Instagram?
Yeah.
So I just feel like I very much had the whole like I don't want to be posting vulnerable stuff to the people that I used to go to school with, for example. Like Instagram to me felt very personal, and I'd have all my old friends or people I went to school with or family members, and I didn't want to be posting that to them. Like I was probably posting on TikTok for a year without a single person knowing. Like I was still playing football, and like one of the lads would mention it, and I'd be like trying to have like a quiet conversation with him about it, because I just felt like I didn't want the people in my life to know that. And people in my life used to think of me as this nervous, unconfident, quiet lad. And I thought like they'll be like, who does this guy think he is, talking about mental health or self-improvement or self-help or confidence? Because he doesn't know, he just sits in the corner all quiet. But I guess I just started I posted very differently on TikTok than I did on Instagram. Like I was very much down the aesthetic running video on Instagram to start with. And then I guess I just sort of saw a bit of growth from that, had the Brooks opportunity from that. And then I just thought like, why not just go for it and post what I'm posting over there? Like if I really want to take this seriously and I want to help people and that is the end goal, then why am I hiding that?
Yeah.
And I guess it plays into the part of like, I'm telling people to be confident, I'm telling people to chase their dreams, and I'm not doing it myself. Yeah. Like it genuinely felt like I'm posting these things and I'm hiding that.
People never take their own advice, man.
Yeah.
Like it's just human nature.
Yeah. And I guess I had to break that down myself to then go and do it, because friends would say it, and like the people that knew me posting on TikTok would always be like, why are you not posting that on Instagram? But I would just explain that exact thing. But I remember like I hit 10K in July, I think, when I went on the
insane.
Yeah. I went on the solo trip, and I remember like that felt like a big switch for me, because I was away from everyone, and I posted a lot on Instagram that week that I went on a little solo trip to Mallorca, just to have a week by myself, away from running, away from work, away from everyone, just to be sort of quiet by myself. And I posted a lot that week. And then I hit 10K on the Sunday that I flew back or whatever. And so many people that I know messaged me and were like, I did not realize, like, because I think I tagged my TikTok account to the post of 10K and be like, I do post this stuff on TikTok as well. And then people went over to TikTok and I had like 110K, and people like that I've known for years were like, I did not realize you had followers for one, but posted for two. Like, I thought this was just a new thing.
Well, TikTok's so algorithmic. So like my best mate said the exact same thing to me. Like, he obviously has known the world I've worked in, but he said to me, mate, do you not post on TikTok anymore? Like, I never get your stuff. I was like, yeah, I do. You obviously don't give a shit about running stuff, so why would you get fame?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
That's true. That's very true.
Yeah.
I guess that's the good thing about TikTok, is that if people are seeing it, they connect with it.
Yeah.
And in terms of the mental health stuff, like, I can never be worried that I'm sort of like reaching the wrong audience, because I'm always reaching the people that are watching those types of videos and people that are going to take something away, I guess. But yeah, and then I just sort of, that holiday was, now that I look back at it, not at the time did I consciously do this. It was just a week where I wasn't going to be judged by anyone, basically. And I knew that no one, not that anyone was coming up to my face laughing at me for posting videos, but for myself, I was knowing that I wasn't going to see anyone. So I could just get on with it. I was filming in public, that I don't do. And I just didn't care because everyone's Spanish and I was on holiday and I'll never see them again.
That is element of like caring less when you're abroad, because you almost feel like I'm going to leave this country and like, no one's going to ever see me again.
Exactly.
But with walking through London, you might be like, I might see this person.
Yeah, exactly. Especially at home where no one does that stuff really. And I would just feel so awkward. Like I don't film at Run Club or anything because I just feel so awkward. And I just think people are like, what's he doing? I am getting better at that. Definitely. And
it's so hard to disassociate because you're like, it's my job.
Yeah.
I need to.
Yeah. I think this is something I wish I could go back and sort of tell myself back then, but to be like more confident about it. So I filmed a video, my first like branded video, like a month ago or so. And I was filming in a public park. And don't get me wrong, I went in the evening when no one was there. But people were walking and driving past. And I kind of thought, this is my job. Like, I'm doing this for a job. So I don't actually care. Like, I feel good enough in myself now to say, like, I don't care. But I wish I felt like that before. Because really, like, who actually cares?
Yeah.
Like, everyone that we watch, that we look up to, had to start there. So why not just go into it and be yourself? Like, I really admire people that are just completely themselves. Like, I know it's completely rogue, but like Window Kid, for me, like his YouTube, it is so refreshing that like he doesn't even flinch when, like, don't get me wrong, obviously he knows he's big and he's been in the music scene for years, but he's filming in a shop. He doesn't even flinch when someone walks past. Like, whereas I'm like,
I literally asked him that. I said, do you not get nervous recording in public? I don't give a shit.
Yeah, and I really admire that.
Like, he'll place his camera up on a like side and just like chat shit to it in the middle of the street, and there's like people going past.
Yeah.
You know, that's the confidence. It's like, what's the thing? Like, freedom is on the other side of cringe or whatever it is. It's like, you'll do something and you might feel like this is the cringiest shit in the world, but because you're doing it and capturing that moment that's really like not powerful, but like you being confident and maybe sometimes being entertaining or whatever, you'll end up getting the best results out of those moments.
Yeah, for sure. And that's something that I really like. That's my next goal in life, is to be, and I'm getting there. I'm definitely improving, but being completely confident in who I am and just not worrying. Like, I feel like it's been so nice, like, meeting you and being in this world, because you give, like, we were talking about this, like, this is a bit of I'm obviously going to talk highly of you now, but me and the boys, like, how amazing it is to, like, you just propping everyone up and being like, oh, like, introducing us that you don't have to, but introducing us to people that are like in higher places and doing amazing things. And it's just so special to know that I can feel like myself around you.
Yeah.
And then that allows me to do that in front of other people, if you know what I mean. Because
bro, I fucking love doing that, because I'm not someone that has power by all means, but my career started because people wanted to like be like, right, okay, cool, like, fuck it, we'll give them a go and put them on camera for this podcast. Yeah. And then as a result, I was like, actually, I love making content. And essentially what I'm saying is, without like helping others, you're never going to succeed. And although I'm helping people who are probably like going to absolutely fucking eclipse me, like, it's still helping people in a way that, like, like me and Hugo were chatting about this. Like I've given him loads of like brand deal help and like stuff about working with brands and like how you negotiate and stuff like that, because no one ever like knows how to do that. No one gets taught it. It's just something that you have to learn as you go. And I've been lucky to get some great advice off like brilliant people. So why wouldn't I share that? Do you know what I mean? It down.
But I think also like that's the interesting thing about this world is that similar to the football performance and how whatever you play like on Saturday is how you're treated for the rest of the week, the next week, the number that you have in a following is not like, I'm really trying to keep that as a detachment of that's not value. Like you are going to have a much better, happier life than say you help someone out and they go and get 1 million followers.
Yeah.
If they don't help anyone else, then like, yeah, they might live an amazing life, but inside, you know that you help them and you're going to continue to do that. And that's why like, I've definitely taken that away from you of like the way you've treated me like that. I now know that like, I want to treat like friends of mine that want to get into content. Like I'm trying to help them and push them and say, just go for it because that's the best way for it to be.
No, for sure. It's so funny, man, because I remember you saying about how you had a creator message you, giving you a help about telling you to post from TikTok to Instagram.
Yeah. Sorry, I forgot to mention that.
I had the similar sort of thing with Alistair Armand. You know, Alistair Armand?
I remember,
Yeah, so he was, I by the way, if you don't know Alistair Armand, he's the best bloke. He's so wholesome. Him and his mum together, just the cutest thing. But he's a sick runner as well. But anyway, Alistair was like banging on TikTok. And I remember searching on Insta to try and follow him on Insta as well. And I go on his Insta, he had like 1.8k followers. And I just messaged him. I think he followed me back pretty much straight away. And then I messaged him saying, bro, where are the videos like on here? And he was like, nah, I don't post on here. It's kind of a posh TikTok. And I was like, bro, come on, you've got to post on Insta. Anyway, he started posting on Insta.
Yeah.
He's got like 120k now.
Yeah,
it's insane. It's sick. But I was like, I look at that and go, I'm not saying it's because of me, but I was able to offer my expertise, which someone told me previously, going, posting on Instagram, it's your CV for brands. That's the thing that they're looking at. If I can pass that knowledge on to someone else, great.
Amazing, yeah.
Because I know, you know for a fact he's doing well on TikTok. Same with you. Like you were doing well on TikTok. It's obviously going to translate over, if not do better, because people on Instagram are scrolling in a different way to TikTok. Yeah. It's less smash and grab. It's more, I'm invested in you. And that's why followers on Instagram count for way more than TikTok.
Yeah, I noticed that straight away when I started posting on Instagram.
Yeah.
Like massively.
Bro, thank you so much for coming on. We've got to wrap it up, unfortunately.
That's all good. Thanks
but it's
so
been
much
an absolute pleasure having you on. Guys, if you aren't following Harrison, then sort it out, because this guy has so much value. And I think that's the best thing. You add value to people's day. And I think that's a lot of content creators do add value, but no one, in my opinion, adds value the same way that you do. So thank you for doing what you do, brother.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for that. That's
Top amazing. Man. Thanks so much for watching, listening. Let everyone know where they can find you.
So I am at Harrison Davis 23 on everything.
Cool.
On Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Thanks for coming on. And let's go get some dinner because I'm starving, mate.
Yeah.
Catch you next week. Follow on the socials. Obviously, subscribe if you're not. And I'll catch you next week. Take care.